Hello everybody and happy Monday. In this week's tutorial video, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how to add a little bit more glow in your images for times where maybe you got a great sunset, but you want to add a little bit of dimension to your scene with a little bit of glow. This effect is commonly known as the Orton Effect, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I apply it and a few little tips and tricks to fine tune it to make it just perfect in each and every one of your photos. Now, this is a tip that I'm using quite frequently when I'm shooting images with lots of sky, where I want to add just a little bit of glow. And this isn't something that you have to use on every photo, but do consider it if you have a lot of sky and nice clouds, maybe a good sunset or sunrise, maybe you have some light bleeding in. Consider using it on any photos like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. I've got my photos open in Photoshop, and we will go from there. So here it is, guys. So I've got my image pulled up into Photoshop here. You can see that I've actually edited my image in Photoshop, but if you edited your image in Lightroom, no worries, just go ahead and open it right into Photoshop. Now the first thing that you'll want to do is create a new layer that is a stamped layer of all the layers below, meaning that we want all these layers below stamped into one layer on top and to make it a copy so that we don't affect any of the adjustments that we've already made. So to do that, it is going to be Command, Alt, Shift, and E on a Mac. That would be Control, Alt, Shift, and E on a PC. It's going to take a second to load, and you can see I've got a new layer now that is a copy of everything that's visible. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Orton. And now I can go ahead and go up to Filter, down to Blur, and over to Gaussian Blur. Now, I usually like to do a radius of somewhere around 40 pixels, but you can play with it and see what you like. Mine is right around 40 right now, so I'm just going to press OK and let that load out. Now you can see that my image is blurry, which is obviously not what we want. What we're going to do though is use a luminosity mask as well as a blend mode in order to kind of create some glow in some of the brighter spots in the scene, such as over here where we've got some light coming in, as well as over here in the clouds. So the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and switch the blend mode to soft light. And I play between soft light and overlay. Both are good. You can try both. So you see now that with no layer mask on, the effect is quite strong. It's way too strong. But what we can do is use luminosity mask. Here I'm using the TK Basic V6 panel, which is free. I'm just going to go ahead and click Composite. And if you're looking to find this, you can find it on goodlight.us. If you have another luminosity mask panel, they will all work just the same. Just make a lights mask. I'm going to use a lights 2 for this. I'm just going to click apply. That will apply this selection as a layer mask, and then I can toggle this. So now if you look over here, before, after, before, after. So you can see it's kind of let the light bleed out around these clouds here, as well as kind of enhance the glow inside the clouds. Let's look at what it's done over here. Before, after, before, after. It's really helped improve the colors as well. You can also flip it between overlay and soft light. Overlay is going to have a little bit more contrast and be a bit stronger of an effect. If you do use overlay, I usually recommend toning it down just a little bit. So it's really, the choice is yours. I highly recommend playing with both. Play with the opacity. You can do all that right here in your layers panel over here. So that really kind of shows exactly how I would do the Orton effect on this image. I'm going to go ahead and show you on one other image as well. Okay, so I've got this image open, and what I want to do is help increase the glow kind of right around here where that sun is, right in the middle of the frame. So I'm going to do Command, Alt, Shift, and E to create a copy of the visible layers. And just like last time, we will do the same thing. We're going to call this Orton. We're going to go up to Filter, down to Blur, over to Gaussian Blur. Again, I'm going to go with about 40 pixels. We're going to hit OK and let that load out. That'll take just a second here. And now that it's loaded out, I'm going to switch the blend mode to soft light. I usually like to try soft light first, but I do always try both of them. Okay, now with soft light selected, I'm going to go up and create a new layer mask here of the lights. Again, this is using the TK Basic panel here. I'm going to do lights 2 again. Usually I find lights 2 to be good for this, and now I can toggle that. So you can see that's helped the colors in the sky, as well as added just a little bit of kind of haze up in the photo. If we wanted even more color, we could use that on overlay. So you can toggle it and play with it. Now, one thing that you may notice is that you may want your Orton glow to be warmer or cooler. And so if you wanted to do that, what you can do is actually create a new color balance layer. And if I change the color balance now, it's going to change the whole image. But there's actually a trick. If you click this button here, it will apply to the layer right below. And you can see that because the layer below it will get underlined, which means that it is being affected by an adjustment layer, such as the color balance. And now I could change the temperature of just that layer. So you can see now that rather than having this really warm glow, I've cooled the glow down a bit to make it more neutral. So there's a before and there's an after. And this is without the color balance, which made it quite yellow, versus with the color balance. Of course, if you wanted to adjust the hue and saturation, you could do that as well. Again, make sure you click this arrow so that it's just affecting the Orton layer. You could reduce the saturation, increase the saturation, whatever you want to do, you're able to apply it to just this layer by using this little square with an arrow below it. So that's what I would do normally to adjust once I've applied the Orton, to kind of dial it in to make it exactly how I want it. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up exactly how I go about doing the Orton effect to add some glow to my photos. All right, and just like that, we are done. So you can see how that super simple and easy trick can help add a lot of depth to your scene. It adds glow. You can add a little bit of color, saturation, brightness, and it's really just going to help kind of make your image pop, make the background stand out away from the foreground. And yeah, I really just like the way that it makes my images look. Again, that is referred to as the Orton effect. I showed you guys a few little tips and tricks on how I like to kind of change it and make it my own. And so I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. As always, really appreciate you guys tuning in and checking out the video. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys next Monday.